Welcome to the Real Journey of the Entrepreneur. The journey of any entrepreneur begins with a decision, then writing down your vision, then the execution of that vision. It is not for the faint of heart. It is for those who understand how powerful your mind is and that you can truly create the life that you deserve. It does require a unique formula that includes belief in yourself, a lot of consistency, connecting with an OG, a lot of tears, missing out on a few events and things, and taking a whole lot of risks that will allow you to see your vision and dream come to pass. This journey of the entrepreneur is from the perspective of a wonderful mother, a business owner, whose goal is to break generational barriers and normalize the process of wealth building and financial wellness through entrepreneurship, all while creating a social and give back along the way. I am sharing this journey with you and invite you to share this process with me. Let's do this together. It's my own, but you have to feel comfortable to own it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right? I will always support you.
Thank you.
Welcome to our fourth annual Full Circle Business Brunch.
This room is small enough but big enough that you can connect with someone. And that is the intention of the Full Circle Business Brunch experience. Being in business is not a competition. We all can win at all levels.
We come from a lot of poverty. How do you break out of a scarcity mindset as a small business?
If you keep it positive, positive will always keep you. The idea that I'm always broke, I never have enough money. You can easily say, I don't have enough money yet. And that changes how you then move forward with your next financial decision.
I'm here to help educate you all on things that you may not have known about, because we find that there's a lot of suffering that goes on when people don't know about stuff.
When you're entering into a business relationship, it's still a relationship. So you want to maintain a good rapport with whoever it is that you're transacting with. You're hiring an attorney to not only protect you, but to also be the bad guy in certain situations.
We can help you connect to people who are looking for jobs. We have 200,000 people in our job bank. We're here to help the businesses out there who are doing really the heavy lifting in our economy.
This is my fourth time attending this event. Each year it gets better and better. And it's really inspiring to see what she's doing for the community and working with the youth.
Why I wanted to start my business is because my mom was working too hard, right? I want to have my own business, my own clothing to wear on the street.
This is an amazing, amazing event with lots of knowledge for business owners, business starters, and just who's thinking about getting in the industry. Hope this continues to be an annual event for those who want to learn more about business and get into the business space.
Thank you for being a part of this transformational experience.
A brighter day tomorrow will bring. Oh.
So hey there, good people. Hey there, hey there, hey there, good people. I hope that you are doing wonderful and well, and that you are continuing to pursue the things that need to be pursued in your life, in spite of bad news, good news, and that you're continuing to walk on your ordained journey. My name is Anita Pierce, and I am the host and producer of The Real Journey of Entrepreneurship. I am uber excited because I get to, through this platform, interview courageous souls who are on their journey to figure out what they're going to create, how they're going to impact, and also making courageous steps to improve the ecosystems that they are in. I get the opportunity to be able to do things like you just saw the video, the Full Circle Business Brunch, where we bring together entrepreneurs to exchange ideas with intention, compliance, sharing resources. And it's a level of intentionality that it's not a huge, robust event where we have like thousands and thousands of people, but it's a setting where we provide and connect resources to those who are willing to share that time and space with us. And it just so happens that we're coming up on our 5th annual Full Circle Business Brunch experience. And this time we are going to be in Harlem. The date, and save the date, is Saturday, March the 21st. It's going to be in Harlem from 10 to 1. So stay tuned for more information as it comes out. But right now you have the date and the time, and we hope to see you there. We are looking to deepen our conversation about business compliance, collaboration, and what that really means, and also being well within the space of entrepreneurship, because we do know how important and how impactful that is. And we want you to join us. So in this space, I get to share space and learn more about those who are in the space of entrepreneurship, and actually what I call serial entrepreneurs, not cereal that you eat, but serial in the space where they are doing multiple things and being creative as they are choosing to enter in and create the spaces that help to solve problems. And guess what? My next guest is absolutely no different. In fact, while I am uber excited, is because of Blue Construction. Not only is Blue Construction a woman-owned business, but when you hear the story about the how this woman got started and some of the other things that she's getting into to help to create her economy, you're going to see why I'm so excited. And not only that, Blue is calming, right? Blue is soulful. Blue Construction helps with supporting in renovations, but also more to it. Renovation of your home and also of your skin. Wait till you meet Nancy. Hey, Nancy. Hey.
Hi, how are you?
Go, Nancy. How are you?
I'm doing good.
Me too. Good to see you.
Good to see you too.
All right. So you know I'm going to start with the basic questions, right? Real
I'm ready
basic.
for you.
You ready?
Yeah.
Tell us how you got started, who you are, and how you got started in this space, Nancy.
Well,
The truth.
it depends which space you're talking about first, because you know we got 2 spaces. So you know what? I just want to give a little background first on, since we're talking about serial entrepreneurs. Just wanted to share a little bit about how I started my wellness practice, right? So back during COVID, everyone was getting sick, and especially in my household, everyone was not well. And I didn't really know what was happening, because we noticed there was a pattern of people going into the, infirmary and not coming out. So this is all real talk. So I said, you know what, we're going to get our family well. And I'm like, Lord, this is what you said about green, and all I did was literally my motherly instincts, they kicked in, and I said, well, we're gonna do green juice every 2 hours like I used to breastfeed all y'all. I have 4 children, and then, well, technically 5 because my husband. Okay, so everyone was just not well, and I was just like, okay, we're gonna like green this out. And when you're hungry, I'm gonna add a banana to it, and that's gonna be your solid food. And long and short of that story, everyone got well. After everyone got well quickly, I was like, there's got to be something that I can keep this going. And I remember one time there was a wellness coach that I had, and he said something about iridology, and I looked it up, and there happened to be an iridology school open during COVID. And I signed up because, the government was giving us money, right? So, yes. So I just like signed up, and I was like, I just really want to learn how, to heal my family, get a real deep knowledge of herbs, how they work, how they support your systems, your organs. and so on and so forth. And that led me to actually get a certificate in clinical iridology. Which is the ability to be able to see what's going on inside your body by looking into your iris, right? It's not mystical, it's not magic, it's science, right? I did that. It was a 15-month program. I did it in 6 months because no one came to class because everybody was like, oh no, you know. And I had both my teachers, you know, attention, and I was able to graduate and get my license in clinical iridology. And I had to practice on people. Anyway, long and short of that story, understanding herbs, learning that, I was, you know, saying to myself, I'm not sending my clients to the pharmacy for eczema anymore. I'm just going to make it because I know how to make it. And that's where my making products started. And I started Savon Blue. And then I just started doing pop-up markets and so on and so forth. And that was my wellness journey. So I've always had a passion for wellness and being well so I can think, breathe, function, respond to people, you know, and survive, you know, in this life. So that's how I started Savon Blue, my first company.
Right.
And that's something that I am, because wellness is a part of, it has to be a part of our lives, you know, whether at work, whether it's stress, you know, monitoring your stress or whatever it is. You want to be well in your mind, in your body, in your spirit, so that you can continue to take on your responsibilities in life and manage them well. So that's my story with Savon Blue. I'm sure you have some questions for me.
But that's just a comma and, right? So you started Savon Blue out of a need, right? It was a need. You were solving a problem. But then you went over into being a general contractor for blue construction, right? And that to me is equally important as well. So tell us about how you got started in the construction industry.
Well, that's a very funny story, but an amazing story and a God ordained story. And I love to lead out that way because it was definitely ordained by God. This was what I was called to do. And as I share, you'll understand, you know, there's a difference between wanting to do something and you being called to do something, right? Because I know sometimes we hear people say, oh my God, you got to get into construction because all the money's there. I get that. Yeah, the money's there, but are you called to that seat? Are you called to a particular position in the seat? In that career. So I had a friend of mine who just called me up one day, and you know, this was, you know, after just me doing wellness, you know, and it was like slowing down a little bit, and I just got this call. Said, hey, I need you to come help me do some paperwork. He was a subcontractor in the Nitra developments working under a prime. And, you know, he couldn't get the document control on point. So he asked me to come in. And I was like, okay. So I'm thinking I'm just going to be there for a week. And, you know, I'm what do you call that? I am moving. Yeah, I'm taking information off of tissue paper and putting it on, you know, sign-in sheets. Yeah, and no joke, that's what was happening. And I was there putting everything in order, dates in order and things like that, and having the guys sign in so we can get this paperwork done so that we can submit it so that they can get paid. And after that, I became like the office manager. And then quickly after that, I was supervising the trades. I was ordering materials for every trade. I was supervising them. I was making sure apartments were renovated in one development. So making sure that the plumbers went in, you know, the electricians went in, the carpenters went in, the painters, the plasterers, the tapers went in, you know, general maintenance, et cetera, et cetera. And before you knew it, I was like, you know, figure eighting, you know, everything. And I was like, okay, it was one development. Then I went over to Red Hook. I was like in Fort Greene. Then I was in Red Hook and Fort Greene, and I was like doing the same thing over again. Red Hook East and West. Then before you know it, we were doing O'Dwyer, we were doing Seaview, we were doing Tompkins, we were doing Marcy, and I was doing the walkthroughs with the superintendents, turning these apartments back over to NYCHA. I mean, I was doing everything from making sure the window guards were in, making sure there was anti-tilt in the stove, making sure that the, fixtures were installed, bath fitters, that, and it keeps going, it keeps going, it keeps going. And I started with 5 guys and 1 development. And I went to 40 guys, 13 developments. And I was doing document control and apartment status reports and all of that for all of these developments, a few units in each development, of course, and 40 guys. And there were some things happening between the subcontractor and the prime in terms of, sometimes subcontractors don't understand that they're not the boss. So there was like a little conflict there, and the job came to an end. Right. But while I was there during that time, I was the boss that these guys knew. Yes, I went through drama. Yes, they put me through it. But at the end of the day, they realized, that I was a sincere person just trying to get the job done so they can get paid so that we can go home. So when it came to an end, 8 out of those 40 guys said to me, hey, if you get your general contractor's license, we'll work for you. That threw me off. I wasn't looking. I mean, I did start loving the whole renovation game, but I was like, you mean like me become like our boss? Like how I couldn't even picture myself. But see, these guys were already telling me who I was. They're already letting me know that you have what it takes. We've worked with contractor after contractor for years of our lives. Some of these men have been in the game like 30 years, 40 years. And they were telling me, hey, you need to go and become a GC. One of them went and got my LLC. And then I did everything that I could. I said, okay, I'm going to call you. Exactly, girl. They went and got my LLC for me. It came in 7 days, opened up my bank account and everything. And whatever I needed to do to get my GC license, I did it. But while I was trying to get all my stuff together to become a GC, I went and I got my certificate in, basic plumbing. I got my OSHA, my SST, solar panel installation, green construction, scaffolding, erection, you name it. I went for it. And I was like, hey, these opportunities are free. I'm going to take it. I'm going to make sure that I understand what's happening so that I'm just not blind, walking in to a site. So, and then I got my general contractor's license, made sure I got state certified with SBS, MWBE, Nassau County. I was just going. And I'm saying all of that to say that it sounds like a lot. It is a lot. And I have to tell you, because God led the way, it did not seem like a stressful process. Like it just wasn't. One thing went to another thing, and I didn't have to struggle. Like help came when I needed it. Like I didn't have to go, oh, can you help? It just showed up. I could be walking down the street and I'll meet somebody and they're like, hey, I do this. And I'm like, oh my God, wait a minute. And that's actually what happened with the plumbing certificate, because I was so infatuated with plumbing, so infatuated with toilets and removing them and placing them. I'm telling you, I was obsessed.
Tell us about how you got this LLC and then what?
So 8 out of those 40 guys that I was working with, they said, hey, if you get your general contractor's license, we'll work for you. And one of them went and got my LLC. I got it in 7 days. I went and I got a bank account. And I just kept on moving. And while I was getting all of those papers in order, I was just signing up for whatever was free. And I am a plumbing person. I just love removing toilets, putting in toilets, removing sinks, putting in sinks. And the funny thing about that class that I took is that I graduated valedictorian of that class, and I got my wrench, right? Okay, but I graduated valedictorian of that class. And the organization that I took the class with, they actually gave me an award for an emerging giant. Like, I'm just saying, like, you can't like make this stuff up, you know, and it's a major organization too, you know? But I was just, you know, trying to just do what I needed to do. And what was happening was, especially with that plumbing class, I just needed to let you know, like with that plumbing class, I was just in my workspace and someone said, "Hey, Nancy, I want to introduce you to someone." And that person just happened, this person knew nothing about me wanting to further with plumbing. And she just happened to have a flyer for a plumbing class that started the next day. I was like, this is crazy. And I signed up, sent the email out, and I was like, I am starting. And I just did like 9 weeks, you know, of just like hardcore, you know, practicum, you know, snaking out toilets. I love it. You know, taking out sinks, putting in sinks, picking up toilets, putting down wax rings and Johnny bolts and, you know, and I'm just like all excited. I know, right? Why would I? But I love it, you know, because I would do these things in my house, you know, and it's great. But I'm saying that to say I was just trying to get every certification that was made available. And it was always something that God like presented, you know, and I was able to sit in the class or do this or, you know, and he worked everything out for me. So when people are like, oh my God, you know, like I know people that just want to become a general contractor because it's a general contractor. They want to be able to walk the title. And I was like, you better be very careful. And this is for everyone out. Be careful when you covet people's calling. Be very careful because general contractor is not a joke. There is liability. You are holding the weight. You are holding the insurances. Anything you do is a liability. And if you don't have wisdom, if you don't have discernment, if you don't have the right people around you to guide you so that you don't lose it all, you're not going to make it, you know? So many people in this industry, you know, like I know engineers and architects and, you know, they're obsessed, you know, with the idea of GC. I had no clue about GC. Okay. I didn't care. You know, I was just like, look, GC, they come, they fix whatever. But I didn't know that this was something that God was calling me to. And because he called me to it, everything just flows so easy, no stress. You know, the favor that God would show me in places that I would go, the tables that I would sit at. I'm just like, how'd I get here? You know? So I just urge people, don't covet people's positions. Don't lie about what you do. Just sit in who you are. And for me, it's being a GC. I didn't look Haitian women, and I am Haitian. That's not what's on our list to become, right? We're nurses. That's acceptable, right? We're lawyers. We're architects. We're engineers, you know, but don't go telling your Haitian parents that you want to pick up toilets and put down toilets. That's not how it works, you know? So yeah, I felt passionate, you know, I feel the passion to like kind of like share that in terms of like, you know, whatever you are, if you are a carpenter, be that amazing carpenter, man, like be that amazing carpenter girl, just be that electrician. There is no need to wanna, oh, okay, I just want to take on all the responsibility and liability, because if you're not ready for it, you're going to fail. You're going to fail forward very quickly. And I think that's a part of my story that a lot of people like don't know. Like they don't know that piece of, guess what? Even when you don't have work, you got to still pay insurance. It's not, you know what I'm saying? Like there's a lot of contractors out there who are not compliant. They just working, they doing what they're doing. And, you know, insurance is a thing, you know, but I thank God that, you know, he provided for me so that I never had to lapse in insurance. Never. No matter how tough things got, we were still able to move forward. But I also think, and I can't leave this out, is one thing that is on the table a lot that people don't talk about is it's okay to talk about, a significant other that supports you, either emotionally, either financially, because that's like a crime, in a lot of the women, entrepreneur space. It's like, look what I'm doing. I'm doing it on my own, but I want to tell you that I did not. I did not. I have an amazing husband, and some people, they have husbands, partners, but the point I'm making is that you can't do this by yourself. And that's a silent piece where people don't like to talk about it. I'm not that woman that's going to walk about, I don't need no man because that's not my story. I'm so honest and so grateful that I have a loving husband. And some people, that's just not what they have. They have a supportive mom. Oh, they have a supportive sister. And that's good. But never walk out there on the stage like you did it by yourself, because somebody had to help keep your head, Yeah.
So I gotta launch in. I stayed silent intentionally because I think that you, as the co-author, co-collaborator of your story, I think I appreciate you sharing. But there's something that I wanted to just double back on. The fact that you said that some of the certificate programs that you launched into were of no cost to you. How did you find them? I know that you mentioned that, someone supported you, may have shared information, but the other ones, right? When you were transitioning, did you was it Google on TikTok, the TikTok, or what, what was it that made you say that at this time? Because I know you were getting your download from God, right? But how did you have the courage to be like, yo, I'm gonna listen to this, or I'm gonna launch into this? Because sometimes we hear stuff and we may be doubting the download from God, right? And then we just kind of do our own thing. But you listen. I want to unpack that a bit.
And that's very important. You said I listened, and that's a very important piece. It's almost like that's what I'm saying. My story is so different, is that when I had a desire, it showed up. Am I making sense?
Yes.
It's like, and this doesn't even have to be, faith-based, because, we all are created in a way to feel what's around us and, energy and all that good stuff. But for me, it was just like I had a desire, and whatever I needed showed up. It's almost like when the student is ready, the teacher shows up.
Right.
And I always said to myself, I was just like, man, I just really wanted to know the basics of building. I'm a contractor, but it's just like at that time, I wasn't a contractor at that time, but I was just like, man, I just really want, I just want to know the basics of building. And somehow I got connected to Solar One through WEAX, which is an environmental justice workforce program. Because I'm all into wellness and stuff, and somehow God connected me with a wellness construction, and that's where I got my OSHA. It's like everything was like in alignment, and I went and I learned solar panel installation. And it was one program after another. I learned, electrical, doing the wiring. I learned how to build literally a little house with my bare hands. And, it's what I wanted. And I had the desire because I wanted to be better. I wanted to be the most because I knew this was an area that I was stepping into that was not female dominated.
There you go.
So I was like, for the young girls that are out there, and you know what, not even just for the young girls, but for the older women who want to switch. I've had teachers come to me during career days to say, I really am thinking of a switch. And I'm like, go for it. Do it. So not only the young girls who are coming up, but, for older women who want to do something different because their jobs have literally snuffed their life from them. Yeah. And before it snuffs their life more, they want to do something that they love, and they've always loved construction, but it's not what their culture accepted for women. I broke out that matrix, because Lord knows I have gotten so many different degrees that that I'm not using. But I don't know. But I'm just saying, because when you're searching in life for what your purpose is, you spend a lot of money. Life costs a lot. Life costs a lot when you don't know what you're called to do and no one's telling you, hey, I see this. Life is expensive, so yeah, so that part right there, just inspiring, women, and just, and just letting them understand that, like, hey, you just take that step out in faith, and because that's literally what I did. I did not stay in what someone else told me I should be in, if that makes sense, because my future was already made up for me, and when I finally said, okay, I'm going to do this nursing thing, this was later on in life, and I was doing so well. Like, I was the president of my nursing class, and I found favor with the chair of the department. But don't you know, when I was in my clinicals, I quit because it just wasn't me. Yeah. I was doing it because that was a label that was put on me as a Haitian woman. That's what you do.
You are a multifaceted serial entrepreneur that has these ordained experiences. Tell me some more about that, because you were obedient and listening.
Yeah. So which one, construction or wellness?
Both, because both of them, I feel, from listening to your story, are intertwined, right? So yes, we are multifaceted, but what you're sharing here is a number of layers that you were obedient in listening, right? You were obedient in listening, right? That there has to be something said about when you are obedient, even though there are challenges that you still went through and still are going through this process. And while you're responding, I'm going to show to those who are going to be watching your website, so that they can see the beautiful face, but also see, some of the things. So do tell.
Yeah, so some things that I was sharing was that, when it's almost like when the student is ready, the teacher shows up. And that's kind of how I see it with my life. It's like when I desired to move forward, it just seemed like the right people came into my life. The right opportunity came into my life. And I never liked forcing anything, and even in the wellness industry, I would have dreams about selling clay, and clay is a healing, it's a healing rock, broken down, it's a healer, and I use that dream as an opportunity to take a leap of faith and move forward. So that was with my wellness, but with construction, once those guys said to me, hey, if you become a general contractor, we'll work for you, I only took it as a divine sign, because I really loved what I was doing. I loved what I was doing, and I didn't know how to move forward and obtain opportunities that way. And God was like, you're going to make the opportunities for others, and I'm going to use you.
So I want to lean in on that a bit, right? Because when you and I first met, I was doing a workshop on government contracting, and I didn't have, like you, a blueprint or a launch-in or someone going, you should do this. This was things that happened in my space that kind of like allowed me to lean and become a student of what it is that I was doing and still doing, what I believe is being called to do. So my question to you is about the work, because the construction industry, renovation, has such a bad rap about, you know, businesses or residential owners or clients being taken advantage of. I think, and I'm gonna just say this because, not being gender specific, but I feel like as a woman of color, a Haitian woman, that you have like this magnetic force to be able to do this work differently. Because ain't no way, right? Remember that
No way.
the individuals are coming to, they see a certain type of leadership that comes in. Do you think that, and this is from your experience and what you shared previously about leadership, how important is that when you're managing the human experience, even though we're working and we're trying to do the things with our life? It's a human experience. Can you share about your leadership qualities that you have and that you bring to the table versus others?
Yeah, so one of the things that I have conversations with people a lot, and it's usually foreign, is this whole idea of emotional intelligence, right? That a lot of people are just in a lot of their fields, but we'll stay in construction. But in this field, a lot of people are just not mature. They are not mature as an individual. They have not learned from things that have happened in life. They have, held on to bitterness, which blocks any type of lesson learned, right? So I've noticed a lot, and even because I can see, I can figure out who you are based on the things that you say to me. I can read what you're not saying, right? And that's my social work background. That's how I'm able to, understand people and clients and colleagues, But when people are not emotionally intelligent, decisions are made, choices are made based on the dollar as opposed to doing the good work.
Right.
Everybody is not that person that will say, I will walk away from this $1 million job before my name gets tainted. Everybody won't do that. People don't think about like I always say to people, you should really rehearse the consequences more. Because if you rehearse the consequences more in your head, you'll be able to make a solid decision right on the spot. Rehearse the consequences. What is it going to look like when you upcharge and do a little bit more for your overhead, right? What's going to happen when something goes wrong, right? What are you going to do? You done charged them all this money and you probably spent it. You understand? It's like the emotional intelligence is just not there. And unfortunately, it's something that you have to want, the wisdom, the discernment, that the thinking about the consequences is not something that comes natural to people. And I know for me, as a leader, another way that God took me through life to understand stewarding people, stewarding humans. I went through like this whole, and that was another opportunity that just came to me. It was like this organization that helped you manage faith and work and kind of like leading your company, the way God would want you to lead your company. I'm like, where did that even come from? Like how, but this is how God prepared me. And he had me sit in front of people like Francis Hesselbein, the owner, the founder of the Girl Scouts, had me sitting in front of the VP of Walt Disney, had me, sitting there in front of the VP of Southwest Airlines, to understand, customer service and taking care of people and be our guest, just understanding hospitality and the customer is that's your first, that's your first line of priority. Like all of that, it's made me who I am. So I was already being built like 20 years ago. I was already being built for this real harsh world of construction. This kick you down, and some of us stay down. I don't. I'm like that thing that comes back like this. But I've really never gotten kicked down because people just are like, what is this? Because they've never seen it. Like, I'm like this unicorn, or, like when I show up, they're just like, what is going on here? And I'm okay with that, because when you're called to a seat, nobody can take you from that seat. So they either got to deal with you or not. There's no in the middle, and if you don't deal with me, I'm going to be placed someplace else, where I can be used the right way. So, I mean, and this is never to brag, but it's kind of like my life. It's my story. Like, I have walked through so many different places in life where it's always been people-centered. It's always been people-centered. Like, even when I was working in the NYCHA houses and I had that crew of guys, I was the boss that was like, you need to take a nap right now because you're grumpy. Like, literally, I was like, you need to take a nap. Or if they start getting the sniffles, I was like, Instacart ginger and elderberry. You're coming to work tomorrow, so I'm gonna let you leave early today. Here's your medicine. Come back. And they would come back. And they'd be well, and they would be whole, and what made them come back, it's not that they were 100% healed, but they came back because they were like, you care about us. You gave me water. I wish I had this guy on here right now, because he would tell you, because he came to me and was like, you gave me water. And in my head, I'm like, that's not what we're supposed to do in hot weather. Like, right? You understand? So it's like, that's just a gift, to be able to steward people and steward them right, and understand, hey, I know you got a second job after this, so I'm going to use the young one that could work all day and do it. And I'm going to give you lighter work. Like, this is how I was always having to think. That was my retention method. I got to know who's good at what they do and let them write it out, so work doesn't feel like work. I don't want work to feel like work to me. But if my team also work don't feel like work, it got to a point where I was kicking them out of the apartment, because we had a staging area. I'm like, okay, you got to go. It was like that. Like, in the beginning, they were like, wrap up, 3:30, gone, everything wrap up. They don't even come say goodbye. To the point when they started seeing that, wow, she actually cares about us. Now I couldn't even get rid of them. And then they were showing up too early in the morning because they wanted to get the work done. Right. 19 inspections, no punch list. Even at NYCHA in those houses, they were like, I have never seen, first of all, a girl super clear 19 inspections like that with no punch lists. Okay, well, anyways, that's what happens when you're called and when you just want to do something because everybody else is doing it.
So now let's talk about some of the projects that you're working on. One of them notably, the JFK Terminal 1 project. And that to me is like a big to do, because all of the construction that's happening and you get the call. How giddy were you? Did it matter? Was it important? Tell us a little bit about, what aspect you're going to be contributing to make that project a success.
Well, I've contributed to that project. I actually got a call to come in and do stairs, the egress stairs. I know, right? Like, what am I doing there? And it was quite scary, and I can't wait to jump in to tell you like what made it not scary. But it was very scary because you're dealing with the Port Authority, you're dealing with all different kinds of organizations, you're dealing with all kinds of contractors, you're dealing with all kinds of trades, coordinating inspections and the concrete pours and understanding what kind of mix to use. Like that wasn't something that I was really trained in. However, when God calls you to something, he supplies the teacher. And I had one of the best mentors who walked me through every single. I had about a few stairs and what we call the head house, and that was my assignment, to complete those 4 staircases that were paused for a minute, because when you rush, sometimes you don't really, that part. And he walked me through everything. He would walk me through every staircase. He was like, hey, that's this and that's that, and these are seismic clips, and this is this. Now what are these again? Oh, these are seismic clips, these are this is that, this is blocking, this is this, and we would go through that every single day until I was able to run on my own. But the exciting part about that is really having the teacher and having the experience. And the funny part, when I showed up on the first day like a lost little girl in a park, I was in the parking lot, and here comes this gentleman who had been working for the company for a few years. And he was like, hi, Nancy, I've been expecting you. He wasn't expecting me. He just heard my name because the lady was giving me my PPE. And he was like, I've been expecting you. And he said, you know what? I'm going to take her to her desk. So I didn't even have to go looking for anything. We jumped. He was like, this is what we're going to do. We're going to jump into this van. This van is going to take us to the trailer. I'm going to get you your computer. I'm going to get you your iPad. I'm going to get you this. And then he was like, I'm going to introduce you to this person, that person. I have so many friends from there. Like, it's crazy. But it just goes to show you what God would do to set you in an environment like that. It was very fast moving, you can't be on your phone. So that was different for me. Having to walk through this huge site, like ducking tractor trailers, you know what I mean? It was a lot, dust and, but it was a beautiful experience. I met so many people that I'm probably going to end up working with again, because this project is coming to an end this year, as we all know. But my assignment was complete. And that really, really stirred up my love for major commercial projects and airport projects. Now, at that time, I didn't have all my state certifications, but just recently I just got them. So now I'm already bidding, for the other airport jobs. And it's a real thing, but it's what God had to do to get me ready. How am I bidding for things that I have no clue? But he put me right in there with all the big dogs, sat at that table. And let me tell you something. When I sat at that table with all those superintendents that did not look like me, but now that woman and not too many people of color, they really supported me. They supported me. It was like, hey, Nancy, welcome. They were very, very supportive. So contrary to a lot of other stories, like, oh my God, these guys in this industry, and it's like, I don't have that experience. Right. When God has called you, he's going to make that way plain and clear. And you're going to, because he has a purpose. There's a purpose. I am in my purpose. And when you're in your purpose, you're going to fly. An Olympic athlete just purpose to be an athlete, they're going to fly. That's what they're going to do. So I'm that contractor girl, and I just can't wait to see where else, I'm going, because it seems like I'm going places and I'm going very fast.
You're being accelerated on your journey. And as we wrap up, right? So I have to have you come back, like, just so that you can do a continuum of, your journey. But I'm curious about 3 things, just 3, that someone who, one, as a Haitian girl from Brooklyn. Let's start from that lens. They want to, thinking about it, what are 3 things that you can offer that young girl from Brooklyn to launch into this space? Just 3 things.
Now, a Haitian girl, right?
Haitian girl.
Okay. So this is funny, but I'm telling you the truth. As a Haitian girl, first get your therapy on, okay? Because there's a lot of things that are said to you. And I get it, there's Caribbean, and I know a lot of times, other Caribbean cultures want to be like, well, we're all Caribbean. No, for some reason, Haitians they're just a little different. Like, we're treated a little different from the pack, right? So there's like things that happen, and parents say things, and and you really can't grow beyond the words that have been sown into your life. So it's very important to get, unjunk yourself with whatever you've been taught, so you can really thrive and not care about anything. That's number 1. Number 2, really pray or talk to yourself about being very discerning about your circle. And number 2, you're only as powerful as the people around you. Choose your friends wisely. When someone shows you who they are, believe them. Walk away gently. Walk away gently. And number 3, you don't got to tell everybody what you're doing. You can really just enjoy where you are, enjoy with who you are. You don't have to make an announcement. It doesn't have to be a TikTok announcement so that you can, put it in your haters' face. You don't need that energy. You don't need that. You just want to be able to get up every morning and be like, I am great, I am powerful, I am successful, and I'm going to meet new people today. You can manifest a lot of these things, and lots of times we don't do that. We manifest gossip, slander. Don't talk about people. Don't talk about what they're doing. Focus on you. Focus on you. Get your therapy, watch the friends, and just you can keep stuff to yourself. You don't have to share everything. When it comes out, it comes out. But you don't want any enemies. You don't. There are enemies you don't know that are out there because of whatever, jealousy and things. That's just what it is. It's just that whatever you're doing and you're successful, you're always going to have that, right? But don't be the one to bring it. Don't be the one to bring it, because you want to live out this peaceful, successful life, and make sure you take care of your health.
Not optional. So I'm super glad to have talked to you today, and we can find you in one space, bluethebuilder.com. Where else can we find you?
You can go to Instagram and go to Blue Construction LLC. That's Instagram, and we're just working on some other platforms right now, since we're moving into bigger things now. So there are some things shifting, and everybody will know.
And everybody will know. And everybody will know. And before you go, right, my rapid questions that I love to answer as a wrap up, right? You ready?
Yes.
Blueprints or hands-on tools? One word.
Hands-on?
Okay. Renovation or building from the ground up?
Building from the ground up.
Plumbing or finishing work?
Finishing work.
Legacy or expansion?
Legacy.
What's your favorite borough?
You not gotta be Brooklyn.
We're back, friends. We are back. We are back. Brooklyn is back up. So on that note, I love you. Thank you so much.
I love you more.
This is so good. Blue Construction LLC, and also blue, if you notice, blue background, blue, good energy, and I love it. Nancy, thank you so much for joining today. I look forward to having you come back again to share the Comma and about your obedience and trust in God, because that is what I learned today, that entrepreneurship is connected to spirituality, growing and forcing us to learn more about who we are and whose we belong to in God. So thank you, my love. Thank you so much. And I look forward to checking you out. So please like, share, and follow. And when you book Nancy, pay what needs to be paid, because clearly the mindfulness, the wellness, and all that goodness is in there. Do what you're supposed to do. Thank you, Nancy.
You're welcome. Bye.
So I'm going to tell you why I get like super excited. And that was just a small portion of Nancy's journey, Nancy's story. Because when you have the courage to leap out as an entrepreneur, you are walking in on your calling. And the reason why I asked about throughout her story is because she had to listen and be obedient. Sometimes we hard-headed. We don't be wanting to listen. But as you can see, when you are obedient to your calling and you listen, even though it may be scary, because a lot of we're talking about this, but a lot of us are walking in a space where we're questioning, is this something we supposed to be doing? Or like, why you have me do this? And remember, if you are a believer and you following this journey, there is a process that you have to dig into, which is listening and being obedient. And that doesn't mean that it's not scary. So I can tell you that there are points, even in my space, I'll be like, what you got me doing here? But it's about being obedient and knowing that at the end of wherever our calling is, we win. There's challenges and ebbs and flows throughout this space called entrepreneurship. It is not the highlights that, folks like to show on social media. It is a behind the scenes stuff of, hearing that someone that you genuinely love passed away and figuring out whether you want to stop your day, in my case, or keep going. It's decisions like that you have to think about. But being in the space of leading, in this space, construction, wellness, using mindfulness as Nancy is leading, makes me want to stop what I'm doing and go work for that space. Because why would you not want to share the human experience and also be able to make impact wherever you go? But on that note, I want to say thank you for joining, watching. Please don't forget to like, share, and follow us. We are on all of the platforms at 11375. And I want to thank you for your continuous support. And also, before I go, I also want to share something, because we're still in the month of February. There's an opportunity fund grant in East Brooklyn. LDC is looking to fund an entrepreneur with $10,000. And who couldn't use extra $10,000 in their pocket? But I have to tell you that it is specific to zip codes that are in East Brooklyn. The LDC, if you check the website, it is there. The final date for you to apply for this specific grant is February, I believe, the 26th. But if you click on a link at the ldc.wisehive.app, you'll be able to see the exact due date. But it's $10,000, friends, $10,000. So you heard it here. Take advantage of it. And I look forward to staying connected with you. And thank you so much for joining another episode of 11375 and the Real Journey of Entrepreneurship. Welcome to 11375. My name is Anita Pierce, and I am your Chief Experience Officer. At 11375, we offer strategic alignment solutions specific to you and your business goals, and also connecting everything with social impact. So if you are looking for a really amazing organization where we help you to focus your strategy and connecting it with social impact, please do not hesitate to reach out to us. We are on all the social platforms, and you can contact us at 11375. This week I have been dealing with the role that I play as a leader, manager, business owner. And something that came up frequently, specifically this week, deals with the fact of how we treat the people that partner or choose to work with our business. And every day there is always a choice to uplift or a choice to bring down. And that choice is daily. Do I minimize the people that are helping to grow my vision, my dream, or do I provide a space where we are growing and developing together? It's not easy. Every day is a choice.